Pharshat Terumah, talking about the secrets in building the Mishkan. This is one of a few parashiot that talk about it. However, if we're going to look at our parasha, at whatever has to is involved with building the Mishkan, one might feel that maybe there are really secrets or something, some hints that the Torah is trying to tell us, other than just how to build things and put things together, and give us a short course in, maybe not so short, in biblical interior design. It says in the Gemara in Masechet Bava Batra Daf Chafhei Amud Beit, it says like this: Amar Rabbi Yitzhak, or should I say Amar Rabbi Yitzhak, Harotze sheyachkim yadrim. If you want to be smart, go south. V'sheyashir, you want to be rich, yatzpin. V'sim manach shulchan batzafon. Umenora badarom. Right? The simanim are the table. Table is in the north, and the menorah is in the south. I'm not going to get into the issues of tefillah with this and so on. However, one should know that Jewish orientation of maps is a little bit different. Mizrach in Lashon HaMikra, it's called Kedem, Kadima, front. So in other words, not like we have in our maps, that when you look at a map, you look it up north. We look at the east. And if you look at very old maps, you might find that the top of the map is really east, it's not north like we have it. And as the Midrash says in Otzar HaMidrashim, Pinchas ben Yair, and so on, Hadarom nikra Yamin, ve'hasmol nikra Tzafon. Right? The south is called right, and the north is called left. Shene'emar Tzafon ve'Yamin, ata bera'atam. So, to north north is going to be on the left. Right is going to be south. Why? Because you are facing east. Doctor, would you like some?
Thank you.
Now, let's look at this a little bit. Let's have this in mind. Let's look a little bit. Let's look at the menorah. The menorah, as we said, is a symbol for abundance, for chokhmah, and so on and so forth. The menorah, which was in the south, which is the right side of the world, in that we call it Teiman. In Lashon HaMikra, south is called Teiman. Right? Teiman means to the right. Lo Teimanim Yemanim, Yemenites. Teiman Mishun Yamin. Right? As it says in Shir HaShirim, in Perek Daled, Uri Tzafon, Uvoi Teiman. Wake up the north and come upon Teiman, which is the south, Tzad Yamin. The Tzad Yamin in Kabbalah is really the symbolism of the Yamin is really chesed and abundance that exists in the world. The menorah in which we light the menorah b'shem and zayit zoch, which is the sign, the symbol of wisdom and intellect, as the Gemara says in Masechet Brachot Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph. If you dream and you see olive oil in your dream, you should expect to become great in the Torah, some enlightenment Torah. Of course, you have to go to Bet Medrash to learn. You're not going to go watch the Super Bowl and become wise in Torah. You actually go, but you're going to get this. So the menorah gives us the expression of abundance of the Torah and the chokhmah that would derive from the Torah that will come to us from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to us. The menorah brings us great light which is the Torah, because if you don't have Torah, you walk in the darkness, and that light in return has influence on us. I'll try to go to some of the aspects of what's in the Mishkan to really see what it has to do with that. A Shulchan, it really symbolizes tzimtzum, restriction, and din. So opposing from the menorah, we have the Shulchan, which is on the north side, which is the left side of the world. In Kabbalah, the left side refers to what we said before, Midat Hadin, or the restriction, the condensation of Chesed and the abundance that was given to us. I guess if you go north, it becomes cold, so everything shrinks, right? The Shefa, the abundance of the north, as it says in Tehillim, Utzfonech temale bitnam, right, with the north, so therefore refers to the abundance that comes, that is limited within your mother's womb. There is all the abundance, there is Shefa there, you eat. However, you're limited in terms of your movement in your mother's womb. So that represents that. And also in the Shulchan, which we said before, the Lechem HaPanim, there is a certain aspect of materialistic abundance, where when the menorah is spiritual, this is materialistic abundance. However, there is a restriction, there is a limit to it. You should know that materialistic matters always are limited, and they always have an end. You can have a lot of money, and there is an end to how much money you can have, and there is an end to it as well, and you're limited. You know? Where in spirituality, you're not. You can grow above and beyond, and it's not limited to anything. You can become always smarter and smarter and smarter. On the Shulchan Lechem HaPanim, on the Shulchan Lechem, there was Lechem HaPanim, which we have refers to the avodah of achila, of eating, and that is elevating physicality, physical matters, to a spiritual matter, because that becomes a part of you. We went through this many times. So therefore, when we make a bracha before we eat, we elevate the food to a reality of materialistic reality. I mean, afterwards, food, bread is domem. It's not a living thing, and that becomes a part of us, which is chelek medaber, right? Which is higher than that. And if we made a bracha on it, we are able to elevate it to the level of kedusha. That's why it's important to make a bracha before you eat. The mizbeach haktoret, the incense mizbeach, is the point of connection and elevating up. So we learned that Tzad Yemin, which is the menorah, this is the abundance that we get from Hashem without an end, and Tzad Shmol, which is the Shulchan, is the materialistic side. So there are two opposing factors that come to play. They come to play here. The Mizbeach HaKtoret is placed in the middle, and its job is to connect lekater, right? In Aramaic, keter, not chaf, taf resh, kuf tet resh, is lekasher, is to connect, lechaber. So the Ktoret is what connects between the two aspects, spirituality on one hand and materialism on the other hand, and it connects them together, and that's what makes it. That's why it's such a wonderful and amazing thing, the Ktoret itself, which is basically also the point of connection between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now you might understand why when Bnei Israel sinned, Aharon ran with the Ktoret. Because the Ktoret has the symbolism of the unbroken connection that we have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now it makes sense. I mean, why the Ktoret? You should have gone with DDT or something, I don't know, whatever it is. The Ktoret is the connecting point. So when Bnei Israel complained to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, was sinned against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we had the Ktoret to remind HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, okay, fine, okay, tranquilo, I'm okay. And the Magifa had stopped. So the tremendous remez here in that matter. Now, when we're talking about the two opposing parts, and the Ktoret therefore will be the Tiferet, will be right at the center. The Tiferet is what we call Limud Torah, that connects between Horadat HaShefa, spiritual, to materialism. That's why if you cannot, for whatever reason that you come in a world, you cannot learn, you have to connect yourself to somebody who's learning, and by doing so, you are the point of you're connected, because you represent the materialism and he represents the spiritualism, and therefore you need to connect. Otherwise, you have it. How is it? Through the Torah. You have to connect through the Torah. So if you cannot learn, support somebody who learns Torah. Don't lose your connection from the Torah. You cannot operate without it. Im en kemach en Torah, aval im en Torah en kemach. One goes along with the other. So that's why it's important to support Tomchei Torah. People who learn Torah, people who do for Torah, it's very important to support them. Not people, you know what I'm saying. Now, if we're talking about the Mishkan, since we don't have, of course, the Ktoret, so one way to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that connection that we are not is, as we said before, learning Torah. That's why learning Torah is so important. That's why learning Torah is so important. Maaseh Mishkan, which includes all the structure and all the kelim and so on and so forth, the kirot, the external walls, the internal walls, and so on, would separate between the Kodesh and then Kodesh HaKodashim. Kodesh HaKodashim is the beating heart of the Mishkan. Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy of Holies, is the beating heart of the Mishkan. And what's inside of it? The Aron. And inside the Aron, what there is? There is the Torah. So, between the Kodesh and Kodesh HaKodashim, there's what we call a parochet, paroiches, the parochet. Parochet is that curtain, and it says, "V'asita parochet chelet v'argaman v'tolat shani v'shesh moshzar ma'aseh choshev ya'aseh otam keruvim ונתת אותה על 4 עמודי השיטים מצופים זהב, ובהם זהב, על 4 עדי כסף, should I say, ונתת את הפרוכת תחת הקרסים, והבאת שמה מבית לפרוכת את הארון העדות, והבדילה הפרוכת לכם, בין הקודש ובין קודש הקודשים. So the parochet is separating, and we have the kruvim, the carobs over there. The parochet has a very specific functional job there, is to, as we said, to separate between Kodesh and Kodesh HaKodashim. Rashi is using the terms to really define better the parochet and what's his job. Parochet, he says, Leshon mechitzahu, uvilshon chachamim pargod. Now, again, if you remember, when we read in Tisha B'Av, it says, Rabbi Ishmael Omer, Shamati me'achorei pargod. I heard it from behind the curtain. Behind the curtain, that there is already a separation between Am Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right before the temple was destroyed and Aseret Harugei Malchut and the whole entire thing, there was already a curtain, which comes to show us a tremendous separation that we had, or disconnected way with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Rashi says, Pargod davar hamavdil ben hamelech uven ha'am, something that separates between the melech, the king, and its people. However, besides that job that the parochet has to separate, and so on and so forth, there's a certain secret to that. And what's the secret is what's behind it. Whatever we are hiding in the back. Why do I put a curtain? Because I don't want people to see what's behind it. Like an unveiling of a new car or statue. You know, they have a carpet like this, you know, a curtain like this, and they pull it out. Everybody goes, wow, it's amazing, right? So the parochet comes to hide something behind it, and of course, nobody besides, that's for the morning guys, nobody besides the Kohen Gadol actually sees that, and that secret is really allows us a certain parallel, or to envision something here in order to understand what Chachamim refer to when they call the parochet and so on. So when we talking about the Mishkan, we sometimes don't regard it appropriately because we refer to the Mishkan in terms of what was in Beit HaMikdash. However, in this case, I'm going to use something from Sefer Melachim, And it says in Sefer Melachim Aleph, in Perek Chet, it says what the parochet in which Shlomo built for the Bet HaMikdash, for the first Bet HaMikdash. And it says, "Ve'en ba'aron rak shte luchot avanim," and that in that Aron, the Aron HaBrit, the word the Luchot HaBrit, asher iniach sham Moshe bechoreb, in which Moshe put in Har Sinai, asher karat Hashem b'nei Yisrael betzeta me'eretz Mitzrayim. According to Chachamim, or the way Chachamim look at that, which is really, should not be taken so lightly and literally. You really have to think a lot about what we refer to, the connection between a man and a woman, between a husband and a wife. That is Kodesh, that is holy. That's something very sacred. And Rabbi Akiva said also, in order to include Shir HaShirim in the canonizing of the Torah, he goes like this in Masechet Yadayim Perek Gimel. He says, "Gam lakruvim anitzavim me'al ha'aron," right? And it says, "Kol haktuvim kodesh, v'shir hashirim kodesh kodashim." That's in Masechet. So now, also the kruvim that are on top of the Aron, they give such an explanation, and they refer to it as, when they say it as a woman, as a husband and wife, as the Gemara says in Masechet Yoma, in Daf Nud Daled Amud Aleph, it says, "Amar Rav Katina b'sha'a shayu Yisrael olim laregel," when Am Yisrael used to make the pilgrimage to the Temple Mount 3 times a year, "Megalelin laim et haparochet," they would roll the parochet, and you could see, it's crazy, it's unbelievable, right? You could really see what's inside. Umarim laim et hakruvim shayu me'urim ze beze, and the kruvim were really intermingled with each other. Ve'omrim laim, and they say to them, "Re'u chibatchem lifnei hamakom kechibat zachar unekeva." HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you or desires you as much as a man desires a woman. In other words, it's an unbroken connection. Must be 8:20. Wow, you're late. So, which bring us to a very, very important. Stop knocking down the table, guys. People are going to get dizzy on the other side of YouTube. So, let's look at this way. To Briat HaOlam, Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, right? Briat HaOlam, the Torah dedicated about, I think, like 30 psukim or so. That's it, the whole creation. However, to the Mishkan, which is basically some kind of a temporary shed, whatever you call it, and it has 20 pillars who stands like this, and 20 pillars, 2x4s that stand that way, and so on. For that, the Torah dedicated few hundred, anywhere, I didn't count, but I don't hold me, somewhere between 300 to 400 psukim. Something about 4 different or 5 different parashiyot that he talks. And why is that? Why is that? Don't you want to know, Bereshit bara Elokim, there was this planet and that planet? Let's expand a little bit on that. And why is that? Because the world itself, the whole universe, is really, and maybe you guys not going to like it, but what needs to be said has to be said. The whole entire universe is really irrelevant, completely irrelevant to how you stand in front of God. Again, the whole entire universe is irrelevant, and what really is important is how you stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, and the Mishkan, which is really the expression to what we call Avodat Elokim, to Avodat Hashem. So what's this purpose of this whole entire project that they had? Why do we need this Mikdash or the Mishkan? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us at the end, it says, V'asu li Mishkan, Mikdash Shachanti betocham. is the Mikdash really for, it seems, V'asu li, and they made me. God says, listen, I want a little RV over there in the desert, so make me the Mishkan, right? That's what we would think. So, but then he changes. He didn't say V'shachanti betocho. It says V'shachanti betocham, inside of them. So I'm going to tell you something. God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, does not need buildings. He doesn't need a house to live in. But Am Yisrael, and as a result of that, the whole entire humanity needs God to dwell in it. God doesn't need a house or building. But when the humanity need God to be inside of it, that's why it says V'shachanti betocham, inside of them. That is a place that we could refer to, Shachanti betocham, because a society without God would be destroyed pretty quickly. Therefore, because of that, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be shochen in the Mikdash, and there will be inside Bnei Israel, there will be like a power plant for spiritual light in the world. And I keep saying this all the time. I honestly do believe that the reason why Jews get whacked so much all the time through history is because we fail on our job to bring light to the nations. We have to do our job, guys. Don't let me keep you up, sir. That's why shuls should be a place of holiness, not politics. I would hate to use the word, but it goes with Democrats. He who turns a shul into a congress or a political arena. Rabbis, people, congregates should not. It should be dealt with utmost holiness and respect. And people who divide, who are deceiving and dividing, have no place to call themselves people of God, because they're anything else but. If you want to run for politics, go around for politics. Do not desecrate your synagogues, your shuls with politics. Do not desecrate it, because what you are doing, you are desecrating the Holy of Holies. Would anybody think to desecrate the temple? No. So why do you desecrate this temple? And that's something that we should rebuke one another. And if you have somebody sitting on top that sees himself more as a politician than a loyal shepherd, remove him from office. Yeah, say that, See? Somebody got to say it. The king is naked. And we fail in that. Politics free. In schools you have smoke-free zone, politic-free zone. Not even discussion between a man and his friend about politics. You come here, only holy. And I'm going to tell you that. If you don't do that, maybe don't come here at all. The terms and conditions, because we see fights and argument and stealing and so on and so forth, and it is horrific. And if it's more horrific since you do it in the name of God. That's why we get whacked. A shul should be so holy that you walk in the street, you feel a vibe of magnet pulling you in. Not a place that you can't wait to get the heck out. If you feel that, you're in the wrong place, buddy. I know people who feel like this, and they're stuck in the house that they had, they can't move, whatever it is, they're davening at home. And we need to think about these things. So, therefore, the Mishkan is lit by using the Menorat HaZahav, the golden candelabra. And there is a shulchan, there is wood covered with gold, and together with him, ka'arotav, v'kapotav, v'kashotav, menekiyotav, and all the shulchan, you have to put the lechem apanim, lefanai tamid, always going to be there in front of me. And the menorah and the shulchan are in the bigger space, which also in Beit HaMikdash, in the bigger space of the Mishkan. And we also, together with that, as we said before, the Mizbeach HaKtoret, Mizbeach HaZahav, Mizbeach HaKtoret. And therefore, we get something here very interesting. The Kelim of the Mishkan resembles some kind of like home style basic needs. You have light, you have a table, and you have something, cook the fire, put the fire on, right? In other words, you have light, you have food, you have good smell. It's like a home. In the inner room, which we call, we call the Holy of the Holies, as we said before, that there is the parochet, the curtain in, and there is the Aron HaEdut, the Ark of Covenant, or we should say of testimony, which is a wooden structure covered with gold, mibayit with bachutz, inside out, which symbolizes the presence of God. And on top of that there is the kaporet, which also made out of gold, and the two kruvim on top. And as we said before, which is the Holy of Holy, represents the love of God to Am Yisrael and so on. And it says to Moshe speaks to him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks to Moshe, v'no'aded v'chasham v'dibarti itcha me'al ha'kapor, v'bnei shnei ha'kruvim, and so on and so forth. And that's why it's called Oel Moed. And that brings us to a very, very big secret. Going back to what we said before, why isn't the Torah talking so much about creation of the world, and it's talking so much about building the Mishkan? I'll give you a little message here, and hopefully you remember. I'll start with it, I'll expand it, and then we'll condense with this, and we almost home run. You don't need to deal with things which are really far from you. And the truth of the matter is that most of the time we are interested in things that are far away from us, and we neglect whatever is close to us. Therefore, comes the Torah and gives us an analogy of a home where we have a shulchan, a table, a menorah, the light, and the lechem, which is the bread. So if we're talking about home, let's look about what our Hasidic masters say about the Netivot Shalom. Should I say Netivot Shalom? Shulam? Yes. No, we should not say that. Shulam. No, Shulam. It's a Shulam. Shalom. Netivot Shalom. Yeah? Everybody gets bent out of shape about the name of Hashem, but then meanwhile, whatever. Never mind. Anyway, the Netivot Shalom says, Zok the Netivot Shalom. We woke up now. Zok. He said, the Netivot Shalom, El Netivot Shalom dijo, yes, okay, let's go. We have to say Spanish. We have to speak Spanish. Right? The derech livnot kol Yehudi. There is a way for every Jew to build his own Beit HaMikdash. And how? Vayikchu li terumah me'et kol ish asher yidavenu libo sheimsor et hadavar hahu shetshukat libo miyuchelet elav terumah leHashem. Tivot Shalom Parashat Terumah. In other words, how do you build the Mikdash? Whatever you're passionate about, whatever you desire, you bring to Hashem. Good or bad. If it's bad, you bring it. אני לא רוצה את זה. השם, בכבוד. זה אני מוותר, I give up on that. And if it's good, take your abilities that are good, that you really desire, you like to do, and bring this. Who likes to make money here? Huh? Anybody? You like money? You bunch of liars. You all like money. Don't come on, raise your hands. There's one side. Yeah, likes money. Yeah, okay. You like money? Anyway, so if you like money, at least do something, bring it to Hashem. Don't go to a vacation in Aruba to eat fish. I mean, how in the world do you eat there anyway? Yeah, I know, Rabbi, I give it to the guy, he gives me the fish. Yeah. Been there, done that, yes. Don't waste it on luxury that it means nothing to anyone, because at the end we're all going to turn into maggot food. Do something to Hashem with it. Build a yeshiva. Tachzik talmidei kolelim. People that let in kollel. People that, and we talk about mesirut nefesh afterwards for Torah. Do something with it. In other words, in order for us to be a kli mezukak, in order to be a pure vessel, appropriate to have the Shekhinah dwell inside of us, to be the Mishkan, a resident place for the light of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, we need to reach to the level of Mesirut Nefesh. Be Moser Nefesh, handing over your soul. In other words, dedication. Our Nefesh has many directions that it's pulling, different wills and energies inside of our soul. And most of them are very, very selfish, egoistic, that are all there to receive. We all want to receive. We don't want to give. In Avodat Hashem, we need to direct all our wills and to turn them into be what we call ratzon lehashpia, a need to share, to bring about, to help. Not an empty vessel that always like a black hole. We want to give, we want to radiate like the sun radiates. Not a black hole that swallows. There are people like that. There are natural black holes. So, and what do? Whatever is the most desired, the thing that we desire the most, you give it to Hashem. The son of Baal HaSulam in Sefer Shamati says, and I'm quoting, Inyan ha-yegiut, she'adam mityagea, what the thing that the person works very, very hard, urak hachana lavo lemesirut nefesh, just a preparation to come to that level of mesirut nefesh. Therefore, a man needs to get used to do mesirut nefesh, to give more, to give extra all the time. Shelo yecholim lavo, and I'm quoting, you can come to a madrega, to any level, without mesirut nefesh, giving over, fighting, giving over. Sherak zeu kli hamachshir lizkor lekol hamadregot. This is the only one who would allow you, that movement inside of you would allow you to go up in all the levels of kedusha, all the way up. It's hard for you to get up from your home. You're tired from work. You want to come home. You want to kick your feet, loosen down your tie, pour yourself a little scotch in a cup, sip it and go into a world. But no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You're going to be Moser Nefesh. You're going to come and learn. I know people who don't have a lot of money and they give so much for Torah. Some of the guys even sit here in our room. They give so much to Torah, it is unbelievable. And yet there are people who make 10 times more than them and a penny they won't give. But to spend 60, 70, 100,000, 60, how about $180,000 for a second car for the wife? That's okay. You can become spiritual like that. You have to give. To some people it's their time, to some people it's the money, but bring it as an offering to Hashem. And we see it b'maaseh korbanot. You want to get closer to someone, you're not going to give him your hand-me-downs. You're going to give him your best. That's why when we have a korban, you can't bring him a second-hand, lamb like this, little goat or whatever it is, with one eye and 3 1/4 legs, and you have to bring the best. That's why Chachamim, when we read the Mishnah, that's why Chachamim gave us a shi'ur, an amount of what is the minimum amount that you have to bring a korban. Machloket Bet Shammai Bet Hillel, first Mishnah Masachet Chagiga. Ma'a kesef, 2 ma'ot kesef. Chachamim said, listen, there's a certain minimum, you can't bring below that. Maybe you bought yourself a sheep on Black Friday over there, some Walmart special. I don't care. You have to pay. And that the reason to pay is to educate you of bringing the best to Hashem. And the same thing goes to yourself. Before you're going to buy yourself a $3,000 handmade suit with $2,000, custom-made shoes, did you buy yourself a set of Gemara? And you buy the good one. Buy something that you can sit down and it's a pleasure to read. What language you want the Gemara today? Korean, they have it. You want to learn Korean? Go take art school in Korea or whatever it is. I don't know. They're not art school, but there's no excuse why not to learn today. Even if they have, let's say Russian, they have art school in Russian. Okay, maybe they don't have the whole thing, but what they have, did you learn? What they have, you finished? Art school in English, they have the whole thing. Did you do it? Oh, it's too long. Take the Yerushalmi, they have it in English too. There's no excuse. Give from yourself. Learn to give. Buy what's really important. And that we learn from that. And by doing so, each and every one of us can turn himself to a holy temple, because you bring the korban. That's your korban, and you are the Kohen Gadol. And when you become the Kohen Gadol, you bring the korban. You enter the Holy of Holies, which is inside of you. Make sure your inside is pure. And that's of course before you got married. Even more so when you're married, and we'll get to this. Now, what is the meaning of the word Mishkan? What's a Mishkan? Lishkon. What's it? Mishkan says, who says this? Rebs? Rav Nachman in Likutei Moharan. It says, Mishkan milshon meshicha. Limshoch is to attract, to pull. Mishkan, we're being pulled into this. We desire, right? Limshoch. So we said that the truth can only be revealed by anava. So is the light. Light could come about, shine our Mishkan, our internal Mishkan, by tikkun midot, fixing your qualities, your midot, and becoming humble. But not humble like, oh, I'm so poor, I'm so humble. And everybody would say, shh, wow, what's a humble guy? He's not a humble, that's a show for him. Humble is for yourself. You know. People tell you, oh, זה גדול אתה. I told you what Rabbi Chaim Palachi used to say, but he used to give him compliments. He used to say, Lecha Shem Agdula. He used to say that he was a big guy. You have to remember yourself what you are. You know what you're thinking there. You know what you're looking at. We know that. And you know there are people better than you. So for yourself. And he says that Rav Nachman explains that the tzaddik is b'chinat afar. As Avraham Avinu said, "V'anuchi afar va'efer." Afar is the heaviest of all the 4 elements. We have the air, the water, right? Fire. Earth is the heaviest of all the elements. So when the tzaddik is in the level of afar, his gravity pulls the light down to this world. And how is that? He humbles himself. He humbles himself. He makes room in himself for God, right? Pushes himself down. The light comes in. The light comes in. He becomes a Mishkan. He becomes a holy place. So, as the Baal Shem Tov says, you have to learn how to bend down a little bit, lean over a little bit. Remember, in my son's vort, I said something about that. So let's talk. We said the Baal Shem Tov, so let's talk a little bit about the Baal Shem Tov, especially for you Rebs. You see, we speak, Hasidim, Sfaradim, all Torah. It's all Torah. We should not. By the way, I'm telling you this again. I'm telling it to everybody. We should never discriminate. Sfaradi, Ashkenazi, Hasidic, the Shtuyot. These are ways to divide that are appropriate for Goyim, not for Jews. A Jew is a Jew. And if we can find something that we connect, let's say, I don't know, I have a beard, but let's say a guy is clean shave, he's a Litvak, one of those like die hard. And there's a guy who is dark hair with pales like this. So get away from this externalism. Find the place that he and you are the Jews in the same place. That's where you connect. That Jew inside of us. Don't be a goy. And we don't do that. We hate each other. We stumble each other. And we affect. You take Torah from a place, you turn off the light. You might as well turn off the light. Vehagita bo yomam balayla. Every shul should have Torah in it day and night. And every shul should do extra to have Torah day and night. I remember when we started the Yeshiva, 2003, we were in Rabbi Bergsman's shul in Kew Garden Hills, and we asked to use the place. We had no money, not that we have any money now, to pay rent. They said, don't worry about it. I said, we can't pay anything. He said, don't worry about it. There's only one condition. That you eat, you drink, there's only one condition. That you are going to learn here all the time. When you're here, we want you to learn. And we said, okay. It was an unbelievable, and I have tremendous hakarat already like 15, 14 years. Tremendous hakarat for what these people did over there in Kew Garden Hills. Rabbi Bergman, Mr. Engel, tremendous things that they did to us. Unbelievable, really unbelievable hospitality. And it's a great place. If I could, I will go there back in a second. I'm telling you this straight out. If I could, I would go there back in a second. And every shul should have that. If a shul does not have Torah in it day and night, might as well just turn off the light, hand over the keys. Hand over the keys. Your house should be a house in which welcomes Chachamim. In Turkey, in Izmir, the rich people used to fight who used to have more people learning in the house. They would bring the Chachamim, the rabbis, to learn in the house, and they would pay them. They would pay them a gold coin to learn in the house. Because they understood the bracha that learning in the house will do. Or for you, some of you older guys, remember Mrs. Aronoff? When we went, Robert's mother, when we went down to her basement when they were building, all the guys that were there still remember this hospitality until this point. An amazing woman. They were building the shul. She was hosting us every single day. This woman used to give us tea. I felt so uncomfortable. But the woman used to serve us tea. Everything you want, sit and learn. There are people like that. There are people like that. You have to make your place a place of learning. If not, screaming yell. And if that doesn't help, and when the people learn there, you should not let any Amalekim around you bother them. You should stand guard. Mitato shel Shlomo 60 giborim. So the people would only deal with learning, they don't have to deal with anything else. And if they don't want that, move to a different shul. A place that will do that. Because only then you will feel a Mikdash Me'at. So the Baal Shem Tov says, and it's something very interesting, he says, V'asita et hakrashim lamishkan atzeh shitim omdim. Krashim. He says, you take the word keresh, kuf resh shin, and he says keresh is a person, refers to a person. keresh, take the letters and mix them up, you get kesher. If you don't make kesher, you can mix up the word, you get sheker. You need to make the kesher with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, otherwise you're living in sheker, in a lie. And he says, קשר מרמז על האדם שהוא המקשר כל העולמות ומייחדם זה בזה. A person is the only entity that connects heaven and earth. And how do you do so? By Torah. A person needs to be mekasher himself as his machshava always to his creator. And by doing so, heaven and earth are joined back together. וצריך האדם שמחשבתו תמיד תהיה בבורא. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's in His creation all the time. As the Mesilat Yesharim says all the time, Chovat ha'adam be'olamo. That's what we said before. How you stand in front of God. But if the machshava of the person goes after havlei ha'olam, the nonsense of the world, as a kesher, the connection becomes a sheker, is a lie. You think you're living life and you're not. וכל חייו של האדם מקושרים בשקר. If you are obsessed with materialism, the whole entire life is one big lie. Even if you hold something, it's not. It's sheker also. Because you think you own everything, you don't. You think you are something, you're not. It's a sheker. Because the Torah is the emet. And if you're not connected to the Torah, you're living in a sheker. And he says, ועשיתי את הקרשים למשכן, and you make those krashim to the Mishkan. In other words, ועשו לי מקדש, ושכנתי בתוכם. That the mikdash has to be made out of krashim, out of those boards. How? B'ksharim. You have to connect one another. So when a person is dealing with chulim, with like daily things, day and day, even if things that are mitzad yetzer hara, you also need to find something to connect in its root, and by doing so, you could elevate them, you could designate and elevate them up. Even dvarim shel ha'olam hazeh, you have to find the root of it, that it's untouched, that it's pure, and elevate that to a level of kedusha, to sanctify even your life here. And by doing so, even things that are bad become good. You need to find this point, elevate, step up to your game. Step up to the plate, step up your game. Bring your existence, your life into a different level. Increase your awareness of why and how are you doing and what are you doing. Now, let's go back just a little bit. And now we take the whole thing and try to put it together in a few sentences. Our society is so much information and a constant bombardment of information, of data. We press like for this one, dislike for the other one. We are bombarded so much with information that we don't really need. And we forget what's really important. We forget what's really important, which is your house, your family, your wife, your kids, your life itself. We are so busy with so many different things that we forgot to live our lives all together. And then you wake up one day and you realize, it says, what happened to my life? Where is it all gone? Cat's in the cradle, guys. One day you wake up and you want to play with your kid. Your kid doesn't want to play with you. Do you know why? Because you didn't give him enough time. When he wanted to play with you, you were too busy looking who's going to be the president of Botswana. Why do you care? you say, kid, please, come over. Daddy, I would love to come over, but, I have a lot of work to do. Kids are sick. Wife is this. I don't have time. I would love to come, Daddy, but... And then you realize that your boy, it became just like you. And when you look in the mirror, you don't like what you see. But there's nothing you can do about it not to change it. Comes the Mishkan and the Torah tells us, look at what's Kodesh HaKodashim. Separate what is holy with the parochet from the outside world. Sanctify your family. Build your connection of you and your wife, because that's holy of holies. Don't talk about your wife or talk about your husband to anyone. You have an issue, deal with them. Holy of holies. My father, Alav Shalom, said to me before I was married, said to me, I'm going to tell you, it was maybe 2 days before I got married, he said to me, let me tell you something. You need to stand on guard on your relationship between you and your wife, and do not let anyone come in between you, even if it would be me. You're going to kick him in the nuts. Do not let anyone come between you and your wife, because it's holy of holies. That's what we need to do. We need to look at what's important in our lives. The Mishkan, the house, you have a house, menorah, light, make sure there's light, and the light is pure, and it's lit with what? Not with LED lights, with the lights of Torah. And it has to be pure light. It has to be shining and pleasant. And there has to be good smell, not smell of perfume and deodorant. Reach tov, reach nichoach leHashem. And there's going to bread on the table. And you understand that the bread is also chefetz of kedusha, because you're making a bracha on it. We shouldn't be concerned. And I don't really care if one day we're going to walk on Mars, or one day we're going to move to Io, Pluto's moon. I don't care. It shouldn't really be your concern either. We were not asked to create the world, but we were commanded to build a Mishkan. Let's deal with what's really is important. Let's build our lives according to Jewish values, the way the Torah had ordered us. But we do need to turn on the light. And the light is the light of Torah. Shabbat Shalom.